Afternoon, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So a few weeks back, the Federal Reserve said that they wanted to get out of the whole repo market, where they were going to, no longer be swapping treasuries out for cash on an overnight basis with these big banks. And it turns out that they might actually still do that, because they don't need this whole repo facility with the big banks, since they stepped in and said, hey, we're going to just go into quantitative unlimited, where we can buy up as much treasuries as possible. In fact, they're going to buy treasuries and mortgage-backed securities and corporate bonds, and anything that everybody has, the Federal Reserve is going to be buying it. So these big banks who were running out of cash back in September, and they blamed it on a corporate tax payment, saying that these corporations pulled out a bunch of cash and then needed to send it off to the Treasury, leaving the banks holding nothing but treasuries. The Federal Reserve was like, hey, we'll print up some cash and we'll do this whole swapping of treasuries for cash on an overnight basis until you guys have the liquidity again. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And the amount of repo that they needed to do just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger until we finally got hit with this pandemic. Now, the amount of cash out there is really limited, considering that everybody's trying to get their hands on cash. Everybody. They're selling off everything under the sun to get their hands on this cash, because cash is king. Everything is priced in dollars. So now the Federal Reserve is stepping in with this quantitative easing, pretty much flooding the banks with as much cash as they need, because they're just buying the treasuries off of them. So they don't need that repo facility anymore. But they're not going to shut it down. See, today, the Federal Reserve said that they were going to start a new facility for repo with foreign central banks, because the amount of dollars needed outside of the United States is also very vast. Everything outside of the United States is priced in dollars. And we've talked about this in past videos. There's a shadow currency system taking place out there. People, foreign countries, foreign entities, everybody outside the bank or outside the United States banks write contracts, and they generally write them in US dollars, and they use those contracts as if they were US dollars. But now they want to get paid, and there's not enough US dollars for all these contracts that have been written. So now the central banks are running out of cash, and the Federal Reserve is stepping in with an overnight repo to say, here, start selling us or swapping out them treasuries for the cash that we have here at the Federal Reserve. So the Federal Reserve is now doing repo with foreign central banks. And if the problem continues to get worse, where this cash drawdown outside of the United States keeps getting bigger and bigger as people are trying to hoard as much cash as they can get, I can only assume that the quantitative easing might spill over into foreign central banks. I'm assuming that. We don't know it yet. See, this is where holding gold is going to be a very good thing. Right now, gold has separated itself in the spot price from the physical price. See, the spot price of gold is somewhere around $1,600, just under it. But if you could find anything that sells for less than $17.50 an ounce out there, you're doing really good. See, their spot price is no longer what the physical price is. Check out silver. Silver is like amazing. $14 an ounce is what silver spot price is, somewhere right around there, the low 14s. And if you could find it for anything less than $20 an ounce, you're doing killer. You're doing a great job if you can find it for that. Now, if you're a guy like me, you can only spend a few $100s at best on some silver, and you're not going to get a deal any better than $20 an ounce. If you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on silver, somebody out there might give you a better deal than the $20 an ounce. But still, the price from physical to the price of paper, very different. Silver, physical, gold, physical, those prices are not the spot price. Nowhere. And that's what's nice about having silver in hand. It's not a contract with another person to get paid. It's physical and in your hand. I could sell my silver now for more than spot price. That's pretty cool. People say you can't eat silver, you can't eat gold. Well, no, you're right. You can't eat it. But I can trade it off for more than what the spot price is. That's pretty nice. I've traded silver for cars. I've traded silver for work. I've traded work for silver. It's a type of currency out there. It's a type of money. It's not even currency, it's money. It's real money. It's hard money. It's not some promise to pay. And it's not something that can be diluted with a lot of money printing. See, all this money that the Federal Reserve is printing up and injecting into the banks and foreign central banks, at some point, we're going to hit a bottom in the market, and all that cash is going to come flooding back in as people try to buy those assets. And then you're going to start seeing money velocity pick up. And with all this printed money out there, you're going to start seeing a lot of inflation start to kick in. And once that does, gold and silver is going to be the one place that you definitely want to be. We're coming into some very scary times here, guys. The unemployment that's going to rip around this world here over the next couple of months is going to be vast. Even the Federal Reserve says that we may come into 32% unemployment. That's huge. That's like nobody working. We're an essential business here that I work at. I work at a hardware store, and even our business has dropped dramatically. People are not spending their money right now. People are staying in their homes. They're sheltering in place. They're locked down. You know, you can see it in fuel. Look at the gas prices drop. Look at the price of oil. I was reading about how a Canadian company up there, what is it, the sand oils or something up there, trading at less than $5 a barrel. My gosh, how do you even pull it out of the ground? It must cost more than that just to get it out of the ground, let alone try and sell it for $5 a barrel. That's a losing game right there. But yet, that's what's taking place. At some point, we are going to hit a bottom in this market. I don't know when. I don't know how long it's going to take. But at some point it will happen. And when it does, the people who do have the cash, that cash is going to come flooding back into the system. And then you have to watch out. We don't know what it is, where it's going to go, what companies are going to make it. But we know that gold and silver is going to be there. You know, that panic buying of gold and silver that's been taking place, that's a very interesting play. Very interesting. You know, these guys who have wrote these future contracts up, they're coming due. And a lot of them are asking for the physical gold and silver, and they can't find it anywhere. And so the price of it is going way up. But yet the paper price is way down. Yeah. And we're going to find out a lot more about this whole repo facility that's, you know, with these central banks, these foreign central banks, how vast that goes. I have a feeling that it's going to turn into a quantitative easing for the big banks out there, outside of the United States. See, a lot of people don't realize this, but there was contracts written all over the place outside of the United States in US dollars. And those contracts are traded as if they're US dollars. But they're not US dollars, they're contracts to pay in US dollars. And at some point, people want to get paid. And now that day is coming, and there's not enough cash out there. And so people are drawing down on the amount of cash that's out there in the world. I'll leave links down in the description for this, guys. Keep your eye on this one. This is the new trading facility that the Federal Reserve has done. That's the one that we're going to have to keep our eye on. You know, the Fed has promised already that they're going to be going into massive asset purchases. And I have a feeling that it's going to end up outside of the United States, and they're going to be buying assets in foreign countries. I mean, they're already doing the repo, so why wouldn't they just turn into outright purchases? Uneducated Economist. You guys let me know.